What's up guys, Nathan here. At long last, the patch notes for Delirium are finally out and we can start choosing our league starters. As usual, I'll be preparing 2 videos on the topic. A reliable list containing only the most tried and true, unnerved options for those of you looking for the strongest league start possible, as well as an experimental list going over my more personal and questionable creations. Today's video is the former. But before we jump in, I'd like to take a second to go over my methodology. Today's builds were chosen with a focus on 3 specific aspects: well-roundedness, scalability, and flexibility. The first 2 considerations are due to the multiplicative nature of how Delirium stacks with existing mechanics, and the third is because I personally believe flexible builds with skill points to spare will be best positioned to take advantage of the new cluster jewel system. And one more thing, just because I don't mention a specific build does not mean it isn't viable. This video simply aims to suggest my absolute top picks to give undecided players some reliable options to consider. Unless you're trying to have the most optimized league start possible, don't let videos like this dissuade you from playing whatever you want to play. But without further ado, let's take a look at my top starters for Path of Exile Delirium. Frostbolt Ice Nova Hierophant. The first build I have for you today is the simple yet effective Ice Nova Frostbolt Hierophant. It scales life, mana, and energy shield for high amounts of EHP, has smooth and satisfying map clear with huge Ice Nova AoEs, and deals insane single target damage via powerful shotgunning mechanics. If you aren't familiar with self-cast Ice Nova, here's how it works. When you cast Ice Nova with a Frostbolt projectile active, the skill expands from the Frostbolts rather than the player. Additionally, when supported by Spell Echo, the Ice Novas trigger multiple times without penalizing your character with additional cast animations. This results in a unique 1-2 play style that players tend to either love or hate. But regardless of how you feel, it's undeniable that this interaction can pump out some absurd damage. The reason why I chose Hierophant is because I believe it has the best balance of defense, offense, and utility. But you can easily play this as an Elementalist, Inquisitor, Scion, Trickster, Guardian, Occultist, or Assassin. In fact, if you're interested in respecking into a cast-on crit variant of Ice Nova later on, Assassin would be the better option. The guide I'm featuring for this build is Archine's The Perfect Ice Nova. This guide is extremely detailed and includes a literal PowerPoint explaining how everything works. Just keep in mind, in a league start scenario, even his budget items will need to be downgraded a little bit until you can farm up the necessary gear to start destroying endgame content. Impale Champion. For all you melee lovers out there, I have good news. Impale was left untouched again. And with Pyroclast mines being nerfed, I believe there is a good chance that pure physical melee builds are now the undisputed king of single target DPS in the game, if you have the budget. Luckily, before you acquire said budget, Impale is still strong enough to carry you through leveling and early maps. Skills like Cyclone, Earthquake, and Lacerate give you tons of flat physical damage for free, and Bladestorm has managed to become a reasonably competitive racing skill. Additionally, pretty much all the melee ascendancies have strong early game power spikes, thanks to nodes such as Master of Metal, Arena Challenger, and Crave the Slaughter. The specific variant I've decided to recommend is the classic Crit Cyclone Champion. This build has an excellent balance of early game damage, survivability, and late game damage. Berserker, Slayer, Gladiator, and even Juggernaut are also viable options, but I think Champion is the king of league starting. Unfortunately, there aren't many beginner-friendly forum guides for this specific build, so instead, I've decided to include a handful of links chock full of helpful information for the aspiring Impale enthusiast. These include Burger Brush's Face Tanking Champion, Turtroll's Savior Cyclone, Turtroll's Facebreaker Cyclone, and for a little variety, Don the Crown's Terminus Est Berserker. Chaos Dot Trickster / Occultist. To no one's surprise, Essence Drain Trickster is once again a top-tier league starter. With nothing but a tabula, some rares, and a lot of patience, you'll be clearing all content in the game. If you're looking for an up-to-date guide, Zizarin just put out a 5-hour video explaining and showcasing exactly how he plans to league start with the skill. However, for those of you less than enthralled with the idea of playing Essence Drain again, I wanted to offer a couple of alternatives, with the first being MBX Extreme's beloved Bane Pop Occultist. The damage is a bit lower than Essence Drain, but the clear is much more immediate and satisfying, which leads to a fairly different feeling character. Additionally, consider checking out Engineering Eternity's Soulrend Trickster. While Soulrend has fallen a bit out of the meta due to receiving the world's tiniest nerfs in Legion League, I still believe it can be just as strong as its popular Chaos Dot brothers. Plus, if you feel like betting on the cluster jewel system, there are some very promising skill effect duration notables that would work nicely with this skill. Poison Blade Vortex Assassin. Next up, I'd like to talk about Poison Blade Vortex Assassin. While the Assassin's elusive effects did see a slight nerf, they likely won't be very noticeable, especially for a skill like Blade Vortex. What will be noticeable is the crazy amount of damage this build can do. Some of you may be wondering why I'm recommending Poison Assassin over Full Fire Chieftain this league. The main reason is because I started Chieftain myself in Metamorph, and while it was a ton of fun and got me my first Awakener kill, the endgame damage scaling just wasn't that impressive unless I dumped tons of currency into crafting a caster bow. Poison, on the other hand, has zero problems in that department. The specific build I'm recommending is that Ye Guy's video guide. It goes over how to level, gear up, and eventually transition into killing endgame bosses. Herald of Purity Guardian. For those of you down in the dumps about minion nerfs, I have some good news. There is still one, relatively unnerfed, high DPS, flexible option for those of you too scared to try out the new animate weapon. Bashtart's Herald of Purity Guardian. Sentinels of Purity are unique minions similar to the Agony Crawler, but with the key differences of not being immortal and only requiring that you hit, not poison, rare or unique enemies to summon them. They do require a bit more scaling to deal respectable damage, but this quality also gives them much higher top-end DPS. Another aspect to consider is the potential gains to be had from cluster jewels. As always, picking starter builds based on teased content is a questionable decision at best, but I feel obligated to at least mention Lone Messenger and Pure Agony since they are looking extremely juicy for Herald of Purity builds just like this one. Bashtart's version of the build focuses on using cheap uniques as well as taking advantage of Guardian's more ethical survivability nodes. In the unlikely event of Cold Iron points and minion-focused Circle of Guilts being expensive, this build may take a bit longer to get off the ground, but will still be an excellent option for anyone looking for a smooth league start. Anyway guys, that's going to be about it for me. Really quick though, I want to go over some honorable mentions. Firstly, miners are still looking strong, but honestly, I can't tell how relevant the base throwing time nerf is going to feel, especially for sequence-focused mines like Pyroclast and Icicle. Ball Lightning, Arc, Ice Spear, and Fireball will probably still feel great, but I wanted to play it safe. Secondly, Spell Totem's Hierophant is still a top-tier starter and was even buffed with totem life changes this patch. If you're interested in playing totems, check out my 3.9 starter video, as literally nothing has changed. Lastly, I think the following builds are fantastic, but not quite as competitive as the builds included in today's video. Caustic Arrow Trickster, Stormbrand Inquisitor, Detonate Dead Necro, Viper Strike Assassin, Fire Trap Trickster, and Scourge Arrow Pathfinder. If you are planning on playing any one of these, you now have my super special seal of approval that means literally nothing, but hey, that's all I got, so enjoy. Thank you guys for watching, my name's Nathan, and good luck in Delirium.
Thank you!
Thank you to my Patreon supporters, Real Human, Zikrak, Squally, Zoljan, Coda, Julie, Alan, Kepler, Sparky, Kata, Putzek, Heiser 801, Kyle, Logan, Ice Dude, Ginzik, Anonymous, Orangina, Marius, and Alex. You guys are awesome. Thank you so much for supporting me. Really makes staying up all night to make these videos for everybody feel that much more rewarding. Really just means so much. Thank you guys so much. If anyone else is interested in joining these fine people, you can check me out at patreon.com/NathanBrotherBob. If you have a Twitch Prime laying around or you just want to come say hi, I stream every Tuesday, Thursday, and Saturday at 2 p.m. Central Time at twitch.tv/NathanBrotherBob. Or if you don't want to give me monies and you just want to, hang out with my community, you can join my Discord right there in the bottom right-hand corner that I'm not going to try to say. But, that place is really cool. And, we got a lot of people in there right now getting hyped about the league, talking about starter builds, just lots of hype stuff, lots of good stuff. And yeah, thank you to you guys for watching me. I usually just thank the people who directly support me, but indirectly, just literally by pressing the play button and even getting to this point in the video, you were just supporting the hell out of me. So thank you so much for everything. Bye.